Let's start with our feet in underneath us in a parallel position. Allow your body to arrive and get into place. Then we'll take our breathing flow. So you're going to inhale and shrug your shoulders up. Exhale, soften and side them down. Inhale and reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale and push down in front of you. Inhale to take a big jumper off. Exhale, push the ceiling away. Inhale here. Exhale, soften, round, contract, hug a massive beach balls, bend in the knees, draw the abdominals back a little bit. Relax the arms, you might take a bit of a forward fold and then unroll all the way up to standing. We can take that again. Inhale to reach your arms up. Exhale, push down in front. Inhale, take a big jumper off, cross those arms. Exhale, push the ceiling away. Inhale here. Exhale, soften, round, contract, hug the air. Relax the arms, the head, the jaw. And unroll all the way up to standing. As we do, we're going to bring our arms back up above our head. Bend and soften in the knees a little bit. Take a hold of your right wrist. Lengthen, big exhale, soft yawn over to your left. Then you can lengthen the legs a little bit here. Bend and soften them again. Stand into the feet and let your body spring back up. Change your hold on to the left wrist. Soften in the knees, take your side bend, reaching over to the right. Lengthen the legs. Soften again. And come up. Then we're going to reach your right arm forward and your left arm back behind you. Keep a soft bend in the knees so you can keep the hips square facing forward. Push into the feet, let the arms come up. And then you can switch, left arm forward, right arm back. Maybe take a little look at the back hand. Push into the feet, let the hands come up. You're going to let them drop by your side. And soften in your knees into your half squat. Just taking about 4 of these. Could track my feet in a little bit more parallel. How about you? Then we're going to press into the big toe joint, second toe joint. So we want to keep our weight quite even, but push into the feet and just check in with how they feel. We could, on these last ones on either side, almost go up and over a little bit. Your weight will shift. Then come back through. Left side. It's a very different leg. And come back through. Soften the knees. You're going to take your hips in a figure of 8. Pushing back in space. And then in the opposite direction. Scooping forward almost. Lovely. Then we're going to inhale to lengthen and take a roll down. Exhale. Sigh and soften your breastbone. Roll your ribs back behind you. Little soft micro bend in the knees. Turn the pelvis and forward fold, hanging out here. Relax the jaw, the head. Maybe hold on to either elbow. Let the body have a little sway, little ragdoll sway side to side. Great, then stand down into the feet, relax the arms, unroll, unravel all the way up to standing. Let your arms sweep up above your head. And then keep a soft bend in the knees. We don't want to overarch your lower back, so you could almost imagine keeping your pelvis neutral, belly button, pubic bone feel quite level. Maybe almost tuck the pelvis in underneath you as you draw your elbows back and low. So you've got these cactus arms, and let your chest go up towards the ceiling. So it would be really easy to arch in your lower back and kind of hang out and lock the knees. What happens if we keep the knees soft, keep your lumbar spine long, open your chest up, send your arms forward. Good, and then you're just going to have a little swing just to shake it out. Good. We're going to go over all of that again. Let's see if I can remember it. So we're going to inhale, shrug your shoulders up. Exhale, soften, sigh them down. Take our breathing flow. Inhale to reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, push down in front. Inhale to take a big jumper off. Exhale, push the ceiling away. Inhale here. Exhale, soften, round, contract, hug a big beach ball. Unroll, unravel, all the way up to standing. Soften in the knees, let your arms come up overhead. Take a hold, of your right wrist and take your yawning side bends. Lengthen, arms come up, switch grip, soften in the knees. Left hand reaches over to the right. Stand into the feet, let the arms come up. We're going to draw those cactus arms back here, just a little moment. Chest goes up. Don't overarch in the lower back. Then send those arms reaching back up again. Lovely. Right arm forward, left arm back. Standing spine twist. Send your gaze to the back hand. Arms come up and switch. Good. And center. You can let your arms drop by your side. Take a little figure of 8 in the hips. And reverse. Oh, there goes my knee clicking. Feet in underneath you in a parallel. Take some standing half squats. Very aware, I've just not remembered the actual routine of this, but I've got all the ingredients. Do you think it makes the same cake? I think so. I think we're okay. Then pad through the feet. Lovely. Great, then we take a roll down through the spine, soften the chin, slide the breastbone, roll the ribs, wriggle, shimmy anything out. Hold on to either elbow, have a little sway side to side. Relax the arms, stand into the feet and unroll, letting your spine cascade back into place. Let your arms reach back up towards the ceiling. Soften in the knees, draw your elbows back, shine your breastbone forward and up the wall. Good, arms can come back up, take a little swing, just bend and soften in the knees. Let the arms brush the floor. And come back to standing. So then let's take it to the back of your mat. Having a little shake off. We're a little bit more mobile, a bit more present. You're going to inhale to lengthen. Exhale, soften your chin, slide your breastbone, roll your ribs, take your roll down your forward fold, soft micro bend in the knees. Bigger bend in the knees as you put flat palms onto the mat and walk yourself out into a plank position. Crown of the head away from the heels, press the floor away. You can soften your knees down if you need to. How does it feel to stay here and check in with this? How much of your hands, your fingers are pressing into the floor? Your neck and your jaw, is it relaxed? What's the right and the left foot doing? Good, then we soften the knees, keep the toes tucked if you can and push back over those tucked toes. Just get a little stretch into the feet. Round your spine, come into all fours. Track the hands in underneath your shoulders, knees in underneath your hips. And we take our cat-cow here. Big exhale maybe to bring nose to pubic bone, rounding the spine, pressing into the floor. Inhale to initiate. The spine undulating in the opposite direction. Take your time. Breathe through it for you. Add on anything or stay in any positions that feel good. Come maybe to your tabletop and take a little tail wag, a peek over right and left shoulders. And then big toes together, knees go wide, sink your sitting bones back over your heels and reach your arms long and away into your child's pose. Remembering if that's not for you today, stay and have a little stir, seeing how it feels to inch your way back over those heels. Nice big deep breaths into the back of you, the sides of you, the length of you. Then uncurl, unravel, come back up into 4-point kneeling. So we're just going to take a thread the needle on either side. Keep the left hand down. Inhale and sweep your right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, soften and thread. Brush past that left wrist, bending in the left elbow, maybe giving the left hand a little push. You can inhale just to sweep it back up again, and then bring it back in underneath you. Switching sides. Right hand stays down, left arm sweeps up. Exhale, soften, thread your needle. A little bend in the right elbow as well. Inhale to sweep up. Exhale, soften, come back through into all fours, quadruped. Great. From here, we're going to tuck our toes. Find our lovely long neutral spine, which often means opening your sitting bones a little bit more than you think. Widening through your collarbones, let your head come back in line with your chest, back of your chest. Push into the hands, into the toes, and hover your glass knees just up off the mat. Nice easy breath here. See if you can maintain this position. When in doubt, stick your bum a little bit more out, hug the bottom ribs back, press the floor away. It's your prop, it's supporting you. Good. From here, send your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. You're into a very short base downward dog. Enjoy it. Pad out here through the feet. Sinking one heel down and then the other. Maybe bringing the knees across the body if you want to. Feel free to lengthen your shape and position if you want to as well. Keep the knees soft. Send the weight into the hands and up into the sitting bones towards the ceiling, creating this lovely long line from fingertips to hips. Keep a bend in the knees. Hold here. Great, then we're going to send your right leg back into your three-legged dog. Bend in your right knee, send your knee, shin and foot up towards the ceiling. So let them shine up towards the ceiling. It allows you maybe to sink your left heel. Keep those shoulders squared off to the mat if you can. And then just bring the right foot back down, have a little pad out. Can we go straight into the left? Reach the left leg back, three-legged dog. Bend in the left knee, send the knee, shin and foot shining up towards the ceiling. See if it allows you to sink your right heel a little bit more. Press into the hands. Good. And then bring left leg back down. Soften the knees, just hover them off the mat here. It is a longer base. Release the knees, untuck the toes, push back into child's pose. Flip your palms, play around with arm position or hand position. Maybe they come in underneath your head. Have a little sway, a little wriggle. Maybe they got to reach back behind you. You can have your knees as wide as you want here. A moment of pause. Great, taking it further when you're ready, come back up into all fours quadruped. Have a little pad through, take a cat-cow wriggle again. Pressing the floor away, rounding your spine. Opening your sitting bones, allow your spine to undulate through. Any extra wriggles you need. Tail wags. Great, when you're ready, hands stay in underneath your shoulders, knees can shuffle in a little bit more. So definitely underneath your hips at least. Tuck your toes, push down into the hands and into the feet and hover your glass knees. Lovely long neck, relax your jaw. Send your sitting bones up towards the ceiling, short base downward dog. Have a little pad out. Maybe it walks forward and back, maybe the hands move as well. When you're ready, hang and settle and sink into your downward dog here for you. Send your right leg back into its three-legged dog. Bend in the right knee. Send the knee, shin, and foot up towards the ceiling. Sink the left heel. We're going to bring this right foot all the way through to in between our hands. We might tuck it in towards our body. Shift our weight forward and then wriggle maybe. Depends on the day. Into a runner's lunge. Remember, you can always soften that left knee down. Staying here. Keep your left hand down, or left knee down as well. And reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Push into the hand on the floor. Reach through the fingertips above you. If your left leg is up, kick that left heel away. So you've got all these different kind of directions in the body going out, shooting out from the center of you. Lovely. And then that left knee can come back down. And we can sweep our arms forward into our sort of half crescent lunge here. Great. Now we could just sink into it, but what I want you to do is imagine drawing your right heel back and your left knee forward. So they're kind of drawing towards each other. And just notice what that does for the stabilization around your left hip as well. So they're kind of drawing back towards each other. So less you kind of sinking in, more the legs are trying to connect and get closer to each other. Fabulous. Bring your hands to your heart center. You're going to rotate and twist into your right. Keep them drawing towards each other for your stability. Nice. We come back through and frame our right foot. Gently picking your left knee up a little bit so you can sweep your right leg back to join your left and have a pad out on the mat. Send your left leg back, three-legged dog. Bend in the left knee. Send knee, shin, and foot up towards the ceiling. Sink the right heel. Push into the hands. Fabulous. From here, we bring that left foot all the way through and in between our hands. Keeping your right hand down, maybe softening your right knee down, that's up to you. And peel your left arm up towards the ceiling. Widen across the back of the shoulders, shoulders away from ears, reaching fingertips. Your hand can come back in. We can all soften our right knee down. Untuck or keep the toes tucked, that's up to you. And we can send our arms sweeping forward into our crescent lunge. Draw the back of the left heel to the right knee and vice versa. Changing our stability and opening up through the front of that right thigh. Hands come in front of your chest and we can rotate and turn to your left. Keep the legs drawing towards each other like they're two magnets. Come back through to center. Hands come down to frame the left foot, slightly tuck the right toes, and send the left leg back to join the right. Have any creative downward dog strutting on the spot that you want. And when you're ready, soften, lower the knees, untuck the toes, sink back into a child's pose. Softening your head, your chest down towards the mat. Nice big deep breaths here again. Into the back of you, the sides of you, the length of you. Great, we round back up into all fours. Bring ourselves into the middle of your mat, just so you've got a little bit of room either side. You might have room at home anyway. So we're going to come up into a high kneeling position. Have a little pad around. Feel free to pad your knees a bit more if you want to. Folded towel. Great. From here, our arms come out and we windmill the arms, sending the left hand down and the right arm up. And that allows us to lengthen and send the right leg away. Now, often we end up sitting back a little bit. So we want to bring our pelvis forward, push into the left hand, reach the right arm up, widen through collarbones. You can use the front of your left shin and foot as well. We press down into the floor here. We can reach the right arm up and over. Take this big, lovely side bend, big banana bend. Through that right side of the body, armpit, ribs, waistline. Where are you feeling it? Push down into the left hand, knee, shin and foot, and allow the right arm and right leg to pick up. From here, we're going to toe tap down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to let the right knee come in, and push off the left hand, sending the hips off the feet a little bit. So just come into a big side bend. Lovely. Inhale, come up. Exhale, soften. Can you tilt through to the other side? Windmilling through, playing around with your positioning. Knee, shin, foot, pushing down. Foot, knee, hand, all in alignment. Arm reaching up, not behind. Shoulders away from ears. Using the floor, using this reach. We can come up and over. Hang out there. How does this side feel? Press down into knee, shin and foot and into right hand, just adjusting. And allow that left leg to float up. Toe tap down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Softly then bring the left knee in. Keep reaching over to the right, almost as you're pushing yourself off your heels down towards the floor. And you might end up there. One side has a bit more length than the other. Good, come back up and over. Let the arms soften, have a little shrug out. Good, shifting our body around on our mats, we're going to take a thigh stretch. So we want to tuck our toes for our thigh stretch. Hopefully they're a little bit warmer than when we started. And it feels okay to sit back on tucked toes. You could have long toes if you need. So we come up into high kneeling. We want lovely soft ribs. A push of our toes and our knees slightly down into the mat that help us align our pelvis into its happy neutral. Reach your arms forward and we're just going to take 4 here. Crown of your head to your knees or one lovely long line. Reaching fingertips help with that counterbalance. You're still breathing. And you can give the chin a little bit of a tuck if you think you're flinging your head back. It's quite a heavy end point of this lever. Fabulous. Hands come down. Just kick back into a downward dog. Give those knees a little break. Great. You can sweep one leg forward and through. So you're going to bend whichever one feels more comfortable. Just to bring it through so that you can kind of come and sit in the middle of your mat. Bum comes down and knees can then windscreen wiper side to side. Separate the feet as wide as your shoulders. Feel free to drop back into your hands a little bit. And then swivel around on your mat and have a lie down into the floor. Again, any little wriggles, big exhale to help you control that. Feet come onto the mat in parallel, knees are bent, arms can reach up overhead in an arm arc. And then they can carve arc reach and come all the way back down by your side. Lovely. Arms go low and wide. We can glue the legs together and take a little windscreen wiper of the legs. Checking there isn't anything we've missed mobility-wise. And then come back through to center. Arms stay low and wide and we'll take a bridge. Inhale here on the floor. Exhale and stand down into those feet. Notice the gentle tilt of your pelvis, but that's not our focus. Reach your knees out over your toes. Rest across the shoulder blades. Melt the breastbone. Stand your big toes down. Notice your pelvis will lift because of that. Because feet went down and breastbone went down, something in the middle has to come up. And when you're ready, take a big exhale and lay yourself all the way down through the spine. And again, inhale to prepare. Exhale, stand down into the feet. Feel the tilt of the pelvis. Reach your knees out over your toes. Rest across the shoulder blades. Melt the throat, the breastbone. Stand those big toes down. Exhale, soften. Melt all the way back down into the mat. Pelvis stays quiet and we float the right leg up to tabletop 90-90. And then the left. Now feel free to have a little wriggle, check in, check out. If you need a little hug, how did that feel? And then place them back down. And then go again, starting with the other side. So float the left leg up to tabletop 90-90. Exhale and let the right one come up to join you. Good. Fabulous. From here, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling, turn the palms to face each other. Heavy head, soft spongy ribs, heavy pec of the pelvis. We're going to reach your right leg and your left arm long and away at a 45-degree angle, and then bring them back in, taking your dead bug series here. Left leg, right arm. Good. So you're just checking in how it feels to reach opposite arm and leg away. Keep the other arm and leg relatively quiet where they are. Remember, you don't need to drop the leg too low because that might cause the pelvis to tilt. Can you keep the spine really quiet and chilled? And you might add a breathing pattern to this that is helping you. Feel free to play around with it. Making this your last one to either side. Fabulous. Then from here, you're going to reach your arms back up overhead and take your legs into toe taps. So right toes are going to come down and tap the floor, hands up, and then the left. Now, as always, if taking it all the way down to the floor is making you flare your ribs, and we've taken your arms up overhead as well, then they don't have to come all the way down to tap the floor. They might just come down before you feel the pelvis move and up. What might help support you is reaching your fingertips long and away and pressing your thumb edge down into the mat a little bit more and softening your ribs. Big exhales to draw the ribs back and down into the floor at the same time as reaching heavy levers away. Okay, then release one foot down and then the other. Send your arms back overhead and we go straight into a bridge, yawning open the front of those thighs, those hip flexors that might have been gathering. Then you're going to take a figure of 8 on the way down through your bridge. So you're going to dip your right hip and then your left and then your right, getting as many in as you can. But coming to the floor, when you come to the floor, we'll take it again. Inhale here, exhale, stand down into your feet, feel the tilt of the pelvis, reach your knees out over your toes. Let's dip your left hip, and then your right, and then your left, and then your right, and your left, and then your right. Fabulous. Hug the knees in towards the chest, feel free to have a little sway. Maybe with a big exhale, draw your chin, your nose, your forehead up towards your knees. Lovely, release head, neck and shoulders back down. Keep a hold of the right knee, straighten the left leg away. Take a point and flex through the feet together. Little circles and wriggles. Remember, sometimes gently pressing the left leg back into the floor as well and reaching it can help open the front of that left hip. And then you can hug it back in and switch. Hug the left knee, send the right leg away. Same thing, let the feet, the ankles have a little wriggle out. Maybe press the right leg back down into the mat. Notice any differences in that right and left. Good. Come back through to center. Have a little circle. Fab, we curl around onto one side and push yourselves up to seated. Come back into all fours. You're going to send your right leg back behind you, cut it across the left foot, and then slide back into that left glute buttock. Bring your forearm and elbows down into the floor if you can, but you can't stay on your hands. Coming into our sort of Pilates pigeon, having a little sway into that left glute buttock. Just making sure that it's as released as it can be so that you can sit comfortably throughout your day. Doesn't cause you to tilt or tuck your pelvis. You can come up onto your hands and go for a little walk around. Just curious, quite slow, little nosy. And then use your hands to help you bring the full of your weight up, back into all fours. And then we switch, send the left leg back. You can have a little shake out of the knee, cut across the right foot, sink and soften into the right hip. Again, feel free to take a little sway, a little wriggle to soften and maybe just stay still and peaceful. Melting, letting go with every sigh. Might be a lot going on in that glute. Remember to come up and just go for a little wander around. Nice and relaxed. And then bring yourself back through to the top of your mat. 4-point kneeling. Send the right foot back and then the left, come into your plank. Gently walk your right knee and your left knee in. So they're in underneath you on all fours, but hovering. Don't move just yet. So you're going to bring your right leg in and then your left. What needs to happen in the spine, the glutes, the buttocks, the pelvis? Good. Send your legs back. Lovely. Walk your left leg in and then your right. Doesn't matter if you adjust in and out of it, you're just trying it out. And then send them back. Press back into an inverted V, lovely big triangular position. Sink those heels down, press into the hands. We're going to inchworm walk our feet towards our hands, keeping our legs long and extended for as long as possible. There's always a soft micro bend just at the end. Great. Hang out here, take a hold of either elbow, have a little sway side to side. Good, relax the arms and when you're ready, stand into the feet. Keep the pelvis in underneath you and allow your spine to cascade back into place. Maybe a little shrug of the shoulders back and down. Very nice. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, push down in front of you. Inhale, take a big jumper off. And exhale, push the ceiling away. Inhale here. Exhale, soften, round, hug, contract around a big beach ball. Relax your arms and come all the way up to standing. Good work. Have a great day.